Hello and welcome. Many people get their visas refused because they make avoidable mistakes. So today, I'm going to share with you some important things you need to avoid and what you need to do to get your visa approved and overcome your multiple visa rejections. Let's get right into the video. Information mismatch. Your visa can be rejected because the information you provided on the DS-160 form do not match with what you give as a response in the interview room. For example, on the DS-160 form, there is a question: who is paying for the trip? If you select self and during the interview you are asked who is sponsoring your trip and you say your uncle or your sister or your parent or whoever, that is not you, it is going to affect your visa approval. Many people think that on the DS-160 form, when they ask them who is paying for the trip, they are asking of flight tickets. So they put self on the DS-160 form, and when they go for the interview, they show a different bank statement. It's not even for them. When you do that, your visa can be rejected. So if you are going for B1, B2 visa, make sure that whoever is sponsoring you is what you put on the DS-160 form. If you are going for F1 visa as a student, make sure that whatever you put on your DS-160 form as your sponsor matches with whoever is your sponsor on your I-20 and the information you give during the interview. Consistency is very, very important. Another mistake with regards to mismatch of information is on the DS-160, there is a question about length of stay in the United States. If you choose 3 weeks, it means that you are going to stay in the United States for 3 weeks. And you get to the interview room and they ask you, how long will you be staying? And you say you'll be staying for 2 weeks or 2 months. That is a mismatch of information and it is going to affect your visa approval. So make sure that the information you put on the DS-160 form will match with the responses you give during the interview. This is a very common mistake that affect a lot of people and affect their visa approval. Point number 2, lack of strong purpose of travel. When you appear for the interview, the first question they usually ask is your purpose of traveling to the United States. And mind you, whatever answer you give will determine the follow-up questions and the flow of the interview from then. If you are not able to give a very strong and clear reason for your travel, you won't get your visa. It is not just enough to say, I am going to the US to visit my friend or family. Speak to why you are going to visit them and why you need to visit them. Maybe you are going because your sister is doing her wedding and it's been a long time you met your sister, and as a family member you need to be there as part of your tradition. You must be part of your sister's wedding. If you are a student, it is not enough to say you are going to US or you are going to this school to study. Speak to why you need that program and why you even selected that school and US. Speak to the why. The why is very important than just giving a flat answer. If you are going for a conference, speak to why you are going for a conference. So it is not just I am going to the US to attend a conference. No, say I am going to the US to attend a conference, and this is because as part of my work requirement, I am required to attend this conference for my promotion, or I'm required to attend this conference to learn these skills or to report this or that to the board members of the organization. I am required to attend this conference in order to acquire this knowledge, these skills, and bring it back to do this or to do that. So it is not just enough to say I am going for a conference. Speak to the why. There are a lot of people who want to come to the United States. So your reason must be unique. Your reason must be different. Your reason must stand out. And it must show to the consular that you really need to come to the United States for your studies, for your visit, or for your conference. It is very, very important. Get a clear purpose and a strong reason for your travel. Incomplete and errors on DS-160 form. The DS-160 form It's your visa application form that has all your details for your visa approval. So it is a very important document in the application process. You must always make sure that you respond to all the questions on the DS-160 form correctly, and you must avoid any error, be it spelling or typo errors on the DS-160 form. Also, information you put on the DS-160 form must agree with the story you tell at the embassy. So, you must always make sure you can defend any information that you put on the DS-160 form. If someone fill your DS-160 form for you, make sure you go through every bit of it yourself before they submit it. Many people who come to me with visa rejections always, all the time, most of them have something to do with errors and misinformation on their DS-160 form. And whenever we are able to correct it, they get their visas approved in their next visa interview. So that shows that when you make errors or when you don't complete the DS-160 form in a way that you should, it gives a red flag even on your profile. And the visas officers do not have time to spend and ask you why this or why that, because a lot of people are in the queue and they flag you out. They do not know you. They don't even want you to come to America. They flag you out and they give you the denial. And all the time, they will give you the 214B paper telling you that you did not prove your ties back home. No, there are sometimes the reason does not have to do with ties back home. It has to do with your DS-160 form. You must always correct it. Always make sure you know what is being put there. You know why you are putting this there. You can defend it. You avoid errors in your name. You avoid typing mistake. You avoid spelling error, and you write good and clear English. Very, very important. Lack of ties to home country. This is one of the popular reasons for visa rejection. You must always, all the time, make the consular believe that you will come back after your trip to the US or after your studies. Do not expect the consular to ask you if you will come back or not. They will ask you. So make sure that in every question that they ask you, you connect it to your ties back home. If you are wondering how to prove home ties, I have a video on that. I want you to check it out and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. It is always important to get a good reason to convince the consular that you will come back after your trip or after your studies. Mind you, they will not ask you. It is not all the time that they will ask whether you will come back or not. Don't expect them to ask you before you say it. Show it, prove it. Let them know through your response. Don't prepare with internet questions and answers by copying them. It is always good to prepare before you go for your interview. For example, watching videos like mine and reading around to get a general overview about how some questions are being asked and how people answer them. But let these always guide you. Always let your unique self and story show in the responses you give to the consular. So, do not copy answers that people give for yourself. However, speak to your own story and uniqueness. When you copy answers given by others, it may not speak to your story and make you unique, and that will affect your visa approval. The consulars hear a lot of these responses. What is unique about yours? Don't just copy answers people give on internet. Copy suggested answers for yourself. Let it guide you. Let it guide you. Let it help you to form and shape your own answers that meet your unique situation and stories for your visa interview. It is very, very important. And that will be all for today. Thank you so much for your support. And please, if you are new here, consider subscribing. Click on the notification bar so that when I upload any video, you can see it and watch it. Always make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section and like this video. Share it to others who will need it. And let's grow this community together. As I always say, theology is fine. Trust me.